Hey there everyone, and welcome to another episode of If I Can Do It, You Can Do It. Happy New Year, and I hope you all had a wonderful holiday with your families. One thing I made sure to do while I was home with my family, eating insurmountable amounts of cake and pie and just food in general, was practice. And that's what today's video is going to be about. How to practice. Now, it's not going to so much cover all the exercises you can do to advance your technique in this way or that way. We will actually gloss over a few exercises and how they apply to the main idea of this video. But what this video is mainly about is how to practice. It's more about the mindset you need to be in order to make every minute of your practice count. After all, playing an instrument is more than just mastering the mechanics of it. It's discipline, research, and above all, a means to communicate and connect with others. If you don't know where I'm going with this right now, don't worry, let's dive in. You'll see what I mean. There will be areas in your playing that you'll naturally excel at, and then there will be areas that you'll be lacking in. Both of these areas require daily practice to keep up to par and also to advance as you so choose. But it's not so much that you make sure to practice every day. That is a big part of it. But it's what you practice every day and how it applies to what it is you're trying to do, how it gets you to your goal. This will often require some careful analysis and maybe admitting some harsh truths to yourselves about your plan. I say harsh truths because typically when we make a mistake going over something that we're learning, it's very easy to brush it off as, oh, that's just one mistake. Oh, that's just a fluke. Maybe I'm just having a bad playing day. Bad day or not, weak follow-through or consistent mistakes require attention. For me personally, this applied to minimal movement. When I was trying to advance my speed in pretty much every area of my playing, I noticed that the distance between my fingers and the fretboard was too big. I've watched a lot of speed-oriented guitarists like Michelangelo Baccio, and his fingers are barely leaving the fretboard. For me, my personal issue is that I broke my pinky when I was 12 years old and it healed kind of funny. Might not look that funny right there, but if you've ever watched one of my videos, my pinky's constantly flailing out from the fretboard. And, you know, it's something that I have to deal with, but it's not something that I can't at least minimize the problem and reduce the distance between my other three fingers and the fretboard. And so what I did was I looked up any minimum movement exercise I could find. And by and large, I got exercises that looked like this. And while those exercises have a purpose, they are helping you work on minimum movement, the chromatic element tends to run dry pretty quickly, and it's not going to help you play the specific patterns you're looking to play. So for me, I was having a lot of issues with my minimum movement in regards to my alternate picking, legato, and sweep picking. If you've been paying attention to this channel, all 206 of you as of this video, those are the three exercises that I displayed in my first ever guitar lesson video, and they helped me tremendously. Each of those exercises were modeled after the minimal movement exercise, but they were also designed to help me play the patterns I was trying to learn better. So what I would recommend is taking a minimum movement exercise that you find on the internet, learn it, get it up to speed, and adapt it to whatever piece it is you're having trouble learning. Make the exercise work for you. This might sound antithetical to a lot of the more technically inclined guitar players who are watching this video. Playing of this caliber already requires an intense amount of discipline and drive that sets you apart from the traditional, maybe singer-songwriter type. Although for the record, there are plenty of singer-songwriters out there who can shred. But the concept that I'm presenting here is actually one that I picked up from listening to MMA fighters, or fighters in general, talk about how they prepare for a fight. Shout out to Joe Rogan's podcast, like as if this is even remotely on his radar. While learning about how fighters prepare for a fight, they have 3 to 6 months, give or take, to prepare for a fight. And during that time, it is daily conditioning and training and learning how you're going to go in there, learning how your opponent moves, learning what you can do to counter it. And the biggest part, that time spent training, is that said fighter never goes 100% during training. They're waiting for the fight. They're working their muscles, they're working their minds, everything is sharp. They are crystal clear as to how they're gonna handle themselves when they get in the ring. Apply this logic to practicing for guitar. You have a great way to prepare for when you have to go into the studio to record or for when you have a show coming up. If you're playing something that is very technically involved and physically demanding of your hands and probably of your mind, if you're having to play 10,000 things at once, or it feels like that at least, you're gonna want to learn the part as per usual, slow at first, and then work your way up until you can comfortably play it at the speed necessary for said recording or show. However, let's say you get there some 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. Are you going to spend the next 2 or 3 weeks playing that pattern at 100%? I mean, you could, but you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to get to the day of the show, or the studio day, and you're going to be wiped. I know personally, I can't come out firing on all cylinders every day, because come the day of the show, if I gave the best performance of my life earlier that day in my studio alone, I'm going to be at best at 50% come the night of the show or come time to record. And I don't want that, because that's when everything I'm supposed to know how to play actually matters. So once you reach your goal and you can play it competently and accurately, practice it every day still, but at 10, maybe even 20 BPM slower than the actual speed. Keep your mind sharp. You want to know exactly where to go, when to go, how to go there, etc., etc. But you don't want to blow your muscles out. Here's a personal example. This is from a riff that I've been working on for the past few months, and actually no one's heard it. So consider this a little exclusive teaser as to what I intend to put out, hopefully sometime this year. No promises. That riff you just heard plays at 110 BPM, and at certain parts, given the subdivisions, it'll be, I don't know, 220, 440, whatever. Never mind the fact that I'd never written a riff like that before, where I had to play that initial sweep, then immediately go into tapping, and then go into a regular riff, and then just keep going into another lead. After learning how to play it at 110, which meant I started at 55, worked up in increments of 5, and then when I felt comfortable, some days I went up in 10, blah, 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 blah. Once I hit that 110 mark, I don't ever practice it at 110. I play that riff every day, but I play it at 100, sometimes even 90 if I feel like playing at 100 would be too much and tire me out for the next day. Let me show you what I mean. My goal isn't speed during practice, it's accuracy and execution. Everything has to sound perfect, even if it's slower. That way, when I go into record, as you just heard, it is on point. I am on point. I'm ready to go. And I believe that this will work for many of you out there who are wondering, hey, how come I can play a riff really great some days and really terrible the next? Well, maybe you're burning yourself out. Think about it. So for the final section, this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty of the mindset element of how to practice. You're human. I assume. Maybe guitar is a hobby for you, or maybe it's the very means of your existence and it's the thing that allows you to get out of bed in the morning. Well, there's a few things to remember when playing means that much to you that will help you, after you make a mistake, get back on that horse or in your chair or stand up. I don't know, however you do it. Maybe you practice on a horse, I don't know. It'll help you get back into it with confidence and allow you to continue with your practice session and make the most out of it. One thing to remember is that those bad playing days that I was talking about earlier, they happen to everyone. It's really easy to hear mistake after mistake after you've been playing at 90% or 100% for days prior and just think that you're garbage. All of a sudden, just forget about all the progress that you've made up to this point. No, garbage. It's over. Conversation's over. Why do we do this? Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, for the very same reasons that when we go to see a band that we love in concert, we are automatically expecting the greatest show ever. And if it's anything less than that, we have some choice words for Twitter and all three people who care about what we say. A lot of people hold unusually high expectations in something they're invested in. So a band that wrote that song that got you through that breakup or helped you adjust to your new job or helped you adjust to moving, you go to see them in concert, you're gonna want it to be a religious experience. And if it's a great show, of course it's a religious experience. But if it's a terrible show, it's like you've been betrayed by the people who saved you, and that feels terrible. Now, translate those expectations of that band to yourself. It makes every success on your instrument euphoric. You're hearing the sounds and you're hearing the sounds and executing it with the level that you really aspire to reach, and you're doing it. You're the best. It also makes your failures just that much worse. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be critical of ourselves on our off-playing days, because there is usually something going on that we need to be aware of. And so if you're having an off-playing day, you shouldn't just be like, well, my feelings. No, you should be aware of what you're doing and see if maybe there's an area you need to patch up that day. But the point of this is to only do that. If you're having an off day while playing, remember, you're having an off day while playing guitar. It's really easy to let things that happen in your day-to-day seep into your practice time. And what I mean by that is, let's say you tell people, music is your life. Music means everything to you. Music did this for me. It's the reason you play. It's the reason you listen. But what you're not telling them is that while music is your life, so are bills, relationships, that thing you saw in the news, the weather, all of this stuff that you have no control over and yet can totally ruin your day. And you know, when you run into one bad experience, say you're practicing and you're screwing up constantly and you just don't know what it is, it's really easy for those negative thoughts that you carry with you from whatever else you experienced on that day to seep in and make everything that much harder to bounce back from. So you're having that bad practice day, right? And now you're thinking about all this other crap that is just not helping you get back on that horse. The guitar horse, the practice horse. Maybe some of what's happening today is your playing, but it could also have to do with that thing your significant other did. And they're always so passive aggressive, and now all of a sudden you can't remember how to play the major scale. If it seems like I'm being over dramatic, I mean, you're not wrong, but this is more common than a lot of people think. Those days where you're having a hard time can be made infinitely worse when you start thinking about all the other things that are making your life difficult. Yes, you're having a bad practice day, and it could be that your muscles are tired, or that you're tired, or that your relationship's gonna end, or that you don't know how you're gonna pay for the internet this month. You see, things that are completely unrelated to our ability as a player affect us because, surprise, we're not just guitar players, we're people. Throw on a hard day, a hard week, month, year, yeah, you're gonna have a hard time playing guitar. And I'm not saying it that way to be like, get over it. I'm saying it because this is what's happening. This is the way that we analyze the situation, that we recognize the situation, and then we move forward. Not on, you're not just gonna forget about it, you're gonna move forward. When you find yourself in these situations where you're just overwhelmingly frustrated with your playing, it's important to just kind of set the guitar down for a second and take in the room. Right now, I am playing guitar. Right now, I am trying to work on these exercises, or I am trying to work on this riff. Right now, I'm trying to work on what it is I'm trying to work on. So all the other things in my life that are bothering me, that I'm suddenly thinking about because, oh, I just couldn't get that one pattern down, don't matter. At least not right now. I need to finish this practice session. I need to get from point A to point B, and then I got the rest of the day to go. Because I personally practice like super early in the morning. That's just me though, so you can adjust the time that you say that to whatever time it is you're practicing. And once I'm done with my practice session, then I can worry about that other stuff. And when I go to handle that other stuff, I won't be thinking about what a crappy practice session I had that morning. I'll be thinking about how I had my practice session that morning and I got the job done. So we're at the end of the video, and yeah, I know there wasn't a terrible amount of playing in this video, but I feel like it's important for guitar players to hear this kind of stuff. Steve Vai talks about having a positive mindset a lot of the time. Tosin Abasi talks about it. Satriani talks about it. You have to be willing to take the good with the bad, and I gotta be honest, knowing that has helped me as a guitar player more than any exercise. Except mine. My exercises help more than anything, and you should totally go watch all of them. Please subscribe to the channel and like, because more videos like this are going to be coming out in the future, but they'll focus on actual playing. The next video is actually going to be focused on tapping, so if you're into that, that'll happen. And there's going to be a lot of new stuff in store for 2019. A lot of different types of videos regarding, well, I mean, still regarding music, but different types of covers will be coming out. More types of covers, I should add. And if you notice, there's a bit of a theme on this channel where I do covers of video game songs and TV shows that are considered nerdy. And I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities that aside from playing music from those forms of media, I could probably talk about them a lot. So could other people. Gee, all the details regarding these things I'm talking about are over at my Patreon. So if you decide that you want to contribute directly to this channel and even have a say on some of the content that I put out, you should head on over there, check out the rewards section, see if any of it appeals to you, and sign on up. If not, just please subscribe and like, and I will see you next video. Bye, everybody.